Kane and Monet want to beef with each other so bad, but every time they start beefing, they end up needing each other, and I find that hilarious. Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the tribe. If you are returning to Fiercely V, welcome back. So happy to have you. We are here today to talk about Power Book 2, Season 2, Episode 7, which is titled, What's Free? ? Thank you all so much for tuning into this Power Book 2 review / recap. Hopefully you're enjoying them. We are a very small channel here, but we're growing. And we're growing slowly but surely. And I'm hype about it. So, hey y'all. Anywho, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the recap. So definitely, while you're here, if you enjoy the video, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. And if you enjoy the content here at Fiercely V in general, make sure that you subscribe to the tribe so that you know when uploads are coming and you don't miss any more reviews or recaps or any other social commentary videos, because I have a few of those coming down the pipeline as well, okay? You can find all of the Power Book 2 recap reviews in the Power Book 2 playlist on the channel, so if you're looking for others that I did previously, go ahead and check there. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the review of Power Book 2, Season 2, Episode 6. Let's get into it. So, starting out, Lorenzo Tejada is fresh out the pen, okay? First day out the feds. He's having a little house party at the house, and it is giving all types of awkward vibes. I mean, everybody involved is awkward as hell. I was awkward watching it, okay? You got Lorenzo, he's sitting at the table. He's like talking to his peoples. There's a gentleman at the table who was in jail with him, and I guess he helped the dude while they were in jail or whatever, so he's assuming that the dude is gonna want to work within his organization now that he's out, and the dude is just basically like, nah, I already got somebody I'm working with, like, I'm cool. And so there's an obvious like level of tension with them. In the meantime, Lorenzo is just bragging on Diana. He's like, yeah, my daughter is realer than a lot of y'all because she got me out when nobody else could, and da-da-da. Whole time, Monet is like, side-eyeing the whole situation, and Diana is just standing over there looking real guilty because she knows she stole that money in order to get her dad out, but at the end of the day, she feels like she did something good for the whole family. Of course, nobody knows about Monet's whole little situation or whatever. So he's bragging on Diana, talking about how real she is for getting him out. At the same time, he's bragging on Drew and basically just dropping major hints that, yeah, Drew, this is my right hand. He's the one that's going to take over for me, da-da-da. And so while he's trying to get the guy who was in jail with him to kind of join their organization, the dude is just kind of like, nah, it looks like you already know who you got, to be your right hand or whatever. And he's kind of talking about Drew. And so there's an obvious tension there. In the meantime, Zeke comes in with his folks, basketball folks. Immediately, Lorenzo gets up and like goes over to check them. He's like, what are y'all doing? Who are y'all? This is an invite only. Apparently, him and Zeke have never met, which I'm like, how long have Lorenzo been in jail? Because I'm like, maybe I didn't really understand the timeline here. I guess he's been in jail a long time because, yeah, him and Zeke have never met each other before. So he's like, oh no, I'm Monet's nephew, Zeke, da-da-da. And Lorenzo was like, oh, okay, like, what's up? Nice to meet you. I hope you realize how much my wife has done for you and da-da-da. So there's some weirdness there. There's like obvious tension there. Zeke brought Everett with him, because he pretty much brought like a bunch of people from the basketball team, and of course Everett's on the basketball team, but that's also Drew's little boo thing. So they're kind of making googly eyes with each other from across the room, and Monet peeps it immediately. Mind you, Tariq told her in the last episode that Drew was still dealing with Everett, so she already know that they're still dealing with each other, but she peeps them just kind of like making eyes at each other from across the room, and she really ain't feeling that at all. And so then Kane is with Lil Guap or Big Guap or whatever his name is. The TGT dude is what I be calling him. But he's with him, and he's basically like, he's kind of side-eyeing his dad because his dad is just constantly dropping these hints that, you know, yeah, Drew is my right hand. Drew is going to take over for me, da-da-da. And it's making Kane feel some type of way. So Kane ends up pulling Monet to the side and like, why is Lorenzo like playing Drew so close? Like what's going on? Like it's like he trying to shut me out or whatever. Monet is like, look, I can't deal with that right now. She's too busy keeping her eye on Everett and Drew. And so she basically ends up going to Everett. She sends Drew off somewhere, tells him to go do something, and then she goes up to Everett and she's like, yeah, I know who you are. You're not ready for my son. You're not prepared to deal with him or whatever. Everett tries to play it off because, you know, he's not out yet. And but she's like, look, I know who you are. I know you're dealing with Drew. You not ready to deal with him, and you not welcome in this house. You gotta dip. That was really pretty messed up. Like, I didn't like the way she did that. To say you're not welcome in this house, it just, I don't know. I don't like the way she did. She could have just said like, look, it's not safe for you to be here, or, you know, you don't really know what you're getting into. It's best for you to leave. Like, it was just so many ways she could have said it, but to be like, you're not welcome in this house, it was giving homophobia or something. I don't know. I didn't like the way she said it. But either way, Everett, you know, he goes ahead, he leaves. Throughout the whole dinner, Lorenzo is like kind of like low-key treating Monet as if she's like, you know, little quiet housewife vibes. He's asking her to go make him a drink, and, you know, one of the people that were at the party was like, oh yeah, we ran out of chicken, can you go get some more? And meanwhile, like, Monet is looking around like, I've been running all this shit while you've been in jail all this time, and now I'm out and you just treating me like, go fetch the food for my homeboys. Like, Monet was not feeling it, and you could tell Diana was like kind of peeped it. Because even at one point, she was like, you need some help, Mom? And Monet was like, girl, no. Because first of all, I ain't even fooling with you because I know what you did. Like, that was the vibe Monet was giving. But she just kind of told Diana, no, she's cool. But you could clearly see that Monet is not feeling the fact that, like, she been running all this shit, and now all of a sudden she's getting treated like just a housewife. I feel like in that moment, maybe Diana was feeling a little guilty about it. And that's why she was like, do you need some help? Like, girl, she don't want your help. But overall, the whole party was weird as hell. The whole party on some weird shit. At one point, Kane comes up to Lorenzo with Lil Guap or Young Guap or whoever. And he asks if he'll take a picture with him. And Lorenzo was like, I'm not taking a picture with you. Like, what the hell? Like, first of all, why is Lil Guap, Young Guap, whatever, always trying to have his phone in somebody's face? Isn't that, like, against the rules of, like, drug dealerness or whatever? Like, I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to be all over social media and stuff. Like, but either way, Lorenzo was like, no. Like, I'm not gonna take a picture. And, when he walks away, Lil Guap is just telling Kane, like, I need to let Lorenzo know that, like, the whatever beef we had, like, before is not, we don't have that beef no more. Like, I need to let him know everything's good. And you could just tell that he's a little, like, nervous about the situation because, they were on bad terms. Lil Guap and his people were on bad terms with the Tejadas. Kane went behind the whole family's back and befriended him. So you could tell that Lil Guap is like, do your dad know we cool? Like, do he still think it's beef? Like, he ain't trying to get, like, got, basically. But overall, whole damn party just awkward. Awkward vibes everywhere. Like, just whole thing awkward. Meanwhile, while the party's going on, Tariq is in jail. He's contemplating life, sitting in his little jail cell, and, we hate that for him. So the next morning, Lorenzo and Monet are laying in bed, and they're just kind of talking about things. Monet is pretty much saying, like, look, I was, running all this while you were in jail. I don't appreciate you just kind of like demoting me a little. I still want to play a role in this. And Lorenzo is like, look, I'm out now. You don't have to do that. Like, I'm going to take charge. I'm going to make sure everything's good. And, I'm going to get Drew in line to do X, Y, Z. Like, Drew is the perfect person to, like, step up, and fill in when I'm not there. And Monet is just like, look, it's things that you don't know about Drew. Like, Drew is like in his feelings over somebody. You need to make sure that he's going to choose this business over his heart because he's like in love and shit. And, basically Lorenzo is like, I know who Drew is. I seen him looking at one of the basketball players. Like, are they messing around or whatever? Like, I'll talk to him about it. So, I mean, at least Lorenzo knows that Drew is gay and he's not like being like crazy about that, because at the party, the way that Monet was like trying to like monitor the situation with Drew and Everett, I was like almost afraid, like, wait, do Lorenzo not know that Drew is gay? Like, is this going to be a big thing? So luckily, it seems like Lorenzo is aware, but he's just like, look, he believes in Drew. He believes that Drew is ready for the life, even though it just don't seem like Drew wants the life. Kane wants the life. But Lorenzo is like, nah, Drew. And I'm just like, okay. So while they're laying in bed talking, Diana comes in. She's brought breakfast in bed for her daddy. It's giving very much daddy's girl. We love to see it. We've seen how Monet treats Diana, so it's not surprising that she's a daddy's girl. Mama don't be treating her well at all. So not surprised, but she brings breakfast in bed for her dad, and then Drew and Kane end up coming in the room, and they're all talking. It's giving very cute, big, happy family, and we love to see it. And basically, Lorenzo is like, yeah, I'm gonna ride out, da-da-da. Drew and Kane, y'all are gonna come with me for the day, da-da-da. So Tariq is in court. He's pleading not guilty. He's basically trying to let the courts know that, like, look, I've been set up. Cooper Sack's little boo thing is the one that's prosecuting him, and she's just like, look, we got all this evidence. We found the badge in his drawer. Like, we have evidence that he's running like a whole drug ring or whatever. Like, she's like, look, he don't need to have bail. Like, there's no reason for him to have bail. Now, Davis and Cooper Sack were trying to say, oh, he needs to be released on bail because he's, active in the community. And Cooper Sack's boo thing was like, okay, if he's so active in the community, why ain't nobody here? And they kind of pan around in the courtroom, and you basically see that, like, nobody came to court to support Tariq. Like, nobody, not one person. And I'm like, ooh, that kind of sucks, So basically the judge denies him bail, and he's gonna go back in jail while he awaits trial. When they're finished with court, Tariq is talking to Davis and Cooper Sack, and he's just telling them, like, look, I didn't do this. Somebody's framing me. They're setting me up. He's asking them, like, what's going on with Yasmin, and they basically let him know, like, look, Yasmin went back into the system, and that's where she's going to be until they figure out what they're going to do with you. And he's basically letting him know, like, look, I didn't do this. I'm being set up. He's basically like, get Councilman Tate to come in here and have a sit down with me. He can help me. Like, he can help me with getting bail. So meanwhile, Lorenzo is at the bar with his two boys, and they're just kind of talking. Drew is reminiscing on when he got shot there, and he was just kind of explaining like how it felt to get shot and everything. And in the meantime, Kane is kind of like putting in overtime trying to kiss up to his dad. Like, it's very clear that his dad has a certain favoritism for Drew. So Kane has, like, I guess there's a chain that Lorenzo used to wear before he went to jail, and Kane had it like done up for him, and so he gives it to him as a gift. And Lorenzo is basically like, it would have been a better gift if you would have brought me the connect so I could meet him. And so he's like, call him right now. Like, call him right now and see if he answers. I need to talk to Drew alone anyway. Go outside and call him. And so when Kane walks out, he just kind of like pushes past Drew like a little bit aggressively, because it's just like Kane is like clearly trying so hard to win his dad over, but his dad is just clear favoritism for Drew. And it's like, Drew don't even want this. Drew don't even want this life. And Kane is the one out here making all the moves, doing all the things. And it's just like, what the heck, you know? On the one hand, I understand why Lorenzo would be more partial to Drew, because Drew is more level-headed and just more calm and strategic, whereas Kane is strategic, but he's also reckless too. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I will say that Kane seems to have become a lot more strategic in this last season than he was when we first met him. Like season 1, we first met Kane was straight reckless. He was just out here doing whatever, murking whoever, complete and utter recklessness. When he like got like pushed out of the family and had to like do it on his own and fend for himself, like it does seem like that made him more like calm and strategic. And it's like, is Lorenzo even gonna like give him the benefit of the doubt to even see that? It doesn't seem like he's going to. It seems like his mind is just already made up. Whole time, Drew don't even want this life. That's the crazy part about it. So we'll see how that boils down. Ultimately, you know, Lorenzo wanted to meet the Connect. Whole time, the Connect is messing with your wife. Shit is getting messy. It's getting very messy. So one of my favorite scenes from this episode, Monet rolls up on Diana. Like, so you stole the money whole time. Like, I killed somebody for that money. Now, we done seen Monet going off on Diana every time she's in her presence. But we ain't never seen Diana snapping back at Monet. Baby, Diana said, "Daddy is home and this mouth is reckless." Like, she was like, well, I didn't tell you to kill nobody, and you should be happy that I got your husband out of jail. Monet said, immediately choked her up against the wall. Like, Diana was talking reckless. Like, Diana done got real brand new since her dad came home and Monet was not having it. She got the girl choked up against the wall. And I'm like, Monet, put the girl down. Put the girl down. Like, she is not doing anything but following in your grimy ass footsteps at the end of the day. Like, your kids are a reflection of you. You've been moving grimy, and so have they. Like, this is who you raise. But when she had that girl choked up against that wall, I was screaming, because I promise you, when I saw Diana talking that reckless, I was like, oh, somebody brand new because their dad is home. And Monet was like, okay, you playing? Okay, bet. Like, I was weak, but it's not gonna get better with the two of them anytime soon. Like, it's just not, period. And I feel like Diana is going to be the one that's going to figure out that Monet is messing off with Mecca. Like, I feel like that's what's going to happen, and I feel like she's going to tell her dad. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that. That's my little prediction. Remember that I said that. So Tariq is in his jail cell, stressed, okay? He is just like trying to figure out, like, how did this happen? How did he end up here? Who is the person that set him up? And while he's contemplating all this, Kanan ends up coming to him in a little vision dream sequence or whatever. And, you know, originally he's like, Kane did this, Kane set me up. And Kanan is like, but, you know, who's pulling the strings? And he just kind of like, just like your mom was pulling the strings with you before you know, sent her to witness protection. Like, Kane might be doing XYZ, but his Monet is pulling the strings the same way Tasha was pulling the strings when it came to you. And so basically Tariq is like, man, I got bullets for everybody when I leave. And Kane's little, you know, Ghost Kane is like, you need to be more strategic than that. You really don't know for sure who set you up. And he was like, sometimes it's the people that are closest to you. And I was like, shade, because it was definitely Tariq that set Kanan up. And Kanan really had real love for Tariq. Like, despite how messed up Kanan was, he really had real love for him, because if he didn't, he would have killed him when that whole stuff went down. But either way, like, that was definitely like a major key, because whole time it's Lauren that got him wrapped up. Like, at the end of the day, yes, Kane is the one who like planted the stuff, but the police wouldn't have even had a reason to search his room if it wasn't for the wire that Lauren was wearing. So it was the person closest to him that really got him roped up at the end of the day. So it's going to be real bad for Lauren when this comes out. I feel like Lauren's going to die, and I feel like Tariq is going to kill her. There was a scene in the original Power where Kanan and Tariq were riding around, and he was asking him about killing his son, because remember, Kanan had killed his own son. And he was like, how could you kill somebody? How could you kill your own son? How could you kill somebody that you love or whatever? And Kanan was like, some people say you ain't a real G until you do, like until you kill somebody that you love. And I feel like on a surface level, like, yes, Tariq killed his own father, who he loved, but also he low-key hated his dad too. So I feel like if he has to kill Lauren, that's going to be a whole other, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think about that little prediction. Something is telling me, and based off by the time this episode ends, I'm like, I feel like Professor Milgram is going to let it slip that Lauren was wearing the wire, but I feel like it's going to be low-key on purpose. That's how I was feeling by the end of this episode, but we'll get to all that. But anyway, that's my little prediction. So Lauren goes to canonical studies class. She gets there before everybody else, and she goes up to Professor Milgram, and she's like, what the hell? Like, why did Tariq get arrested? Like, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Like, you said that Tariq was safe or whatever. And Professor Milgram is basically just like, look, Tariq is a murderer and he's getting what he deserved. Because Milgram is just like, she literally went from, oh no, Tariq is a nice student, to, yep, whatever they say he did that shit. Like, she went from night to day so quickly. So she's like, look, Tariq did it, he deserves it, oh well. Like, she's so coarse and callous about it. And so, of course, Lauren is not happy about that. She's like, are they going to make me testify? Like, what the hell? And Professor Milgram is like, yeah, I mean, you are a major key to this case. Like, they have other evidence, yes, but you are the one that wore the wire. Like, if they need you to testify, they're going to ask you to testify, and you're like basically not going to have a choice. And so Lauren is stressing about it. She's like, oh my God, Tariq's going to hate me. Well, girl, why the hell did you wear the wire in the first place if you was concerned about Tariq hating you? Like, girl. So anyway, they're having this conversation, and other people start coming into class. So the class gets started or whatever. The students are like, we not finna just sit here and have class while Tariq is in jail for murder. Like, we not finna just be in here acting normal. So the students are just kind of talking about it. They're like, oh my God, what if he gets out? Is he just gonna come back to class? Like, is he dangerous? And basically Professor Milgram is just like, no, he's not gonna get out. He's accused of murdering 2 people. One of them was a cop. He's not gonna be allowed to get bail, and he's gonna be in jail for the rest of his life. And like, some of the students were just kind of like, dang, like, what happened to, like, innocent until proven guilty? Like, what the hell? And, basically Professor Milgram is just like, no, he's going to jail forever. Like, she's just literally, like, fully, like, slandering his name, like, not even knowing fully for sure that he did what he's accused of. In the meantime, Councilman Tate steps in, and he's like, look, like, he hasn't been convicted yet. And, black men get like roped up and stuff all the time they're not necessarily guilty of. So like, let's just wait and see what happens. And so there's like a little bit of tension between him and Professor Milgram, as far as Professor Milgram being like, look, he did it, whatever they say he did it, he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. And Councilman Tate being like, you kind of jumping the gun. So Monet goes to meet Dante, aka Mecca, and she's just like, look, you know, this is a lot. My husband's back home. And Mecca is like, okay, but we not about to stop seeing each other. So like, what is you saying? And he is like dead ass, like, we're not about to stop fucking around. Basically, Monet is like, look, we're just gonna have to move differently. Like, my husband's out. I have to be careful. And Mecca is like, I'm not about to be sneaking around or whatever. And I'm like, well, damn, Mecca, you know the woman is married. Like, what do you want to do? Like, you know she's married. Her husband is out. What is your expectation of her? And so Monet is basically like, look, I just need more time to figure this out. Mecca is like, yeah, whatever. What about my son? When am I going to meet my son? And Monet is like, look, I'm still going to set that up. Like, I'll let you know when you can go ahead and meet Zeke and whatever. And then Lorenzo ends up calling her. Lorenzo is basically calling her like, did you know that Tariq is in jail for both of those murders? Like, so you and Kane basically put both of those murders on him. Like, that's a stupid idea, because how long do you think it's going to take for them to trace that back to this family? Once they start digging into Tariq, like, it's going to come back to this family. And so Monet is like, oh shoot, like, that's not, let me go try to figure out what's going on. Monet never told Kane to plant the badge in Tariq's stuff. Like, Monet never said, go frame Tariq. Like, Kane did that shit on his own. And I mean, Mecca told him to frame somebody, but Mecca didn't tell him who to frame. So, like, Kane literally just decided on his own, I'm about to frame Tariq because he has personal issues with Tariq. Because he feels like Monet likes Tariq more. Like, Kane really got daddy issues and mommy issues. Like, it's really sad when you really think about it. Like, he really needs like therapy or something. It's very sad when you really examine it like that. So Monet ends up going to see Davis, and she's like, what happened? Like, what's going on with Tariq? And first they tried to put this stuff on Zeke, and now they're trying to put it on Tariq. It seems like they're just on a witch hunt. And Davis is like, yeah, kind of feels like a witch hunt. And she's kind of like pressing him for information about the case, but Davis is not really comfortable giving her information about the case, because he's like, look, I'm not gonna give you no information. Like, I'm representing Tariq. Like, I'm not gonna just give you information on his case. And so Monet basically gives him $250K, and she's like, look, I'm giving you this money, and here's a little burner phone. If there's anything that happens in Tariq's case that can come back onto my family, I need you to let me know. And Davis is like, well, first of all, make that $500K, and then I will let you know if anything's coming back to your family. But I'm not about to give you no like pertinent information about his case. I'm not going to be telling you nothing that could hurt Tariq, but I will let you know if there's anything you need to know that will come against your family. And so basically Monet goes to talk to Kane. She's like, look, first of all, you was stupid as hell for planning that on Tariq. Like, nobody told you to do that. Like, that could come back to us. Now we got to figure this shit out. Kane is like, look, you told me to take care of it. I took care of it. Either way, she's like, I got to pay Davis another $250K so he can give me information on the case. So we're going to need Course Correct to still be going in order to make that money up. And she's like, with Tariq gone, how are we gonna do it? Kane is like, look, Brayden, he set that shit up with Tariq, like, he can do it. And Monet is not feeling really comfortable about it, but she's like, let me meet him and let me see. And she's basically like, look, this is just me and you, Kane. Like, you can't let Dad know. You can't let Drew and Diana know. Like, this is just us. Like, nobody else can know. And I'm just sitting there like, as much as y'all be beefing with each other and trying to not work together, y'all need each other. Like, y'all need each other at the end of the day. So it's just hilarious to me how they're like, it's the two of them against all odds, after they've been beefing like the whole season, you know, like it's just it's hilarious to me. But she's basically like, look, we're gonna keep course correct going, like I'm gonna meet up with Brayden and see if he's, you know, really about that life or whatever, and don't tell nobody, don't tell Dad, don't tell Diane, don't tell Drew. So that's their little plan. So Kane and Mecca are sitting around, they're talking, and Kane is just mentioning to him about how Lorenzo wants to meet the Connect, and Mecca is like, you know, I mean, do you feel like that's a good idea? You know, and Kane is like, immediately no. Like, he's like, once Lorenzo meets the Connect, then there's no need for me. Then I'm not needed. And he's like, I'm not about to give him the Connect so he can, you know, pass the business off to Drew and I'm gonna be left out in the cold. Like, no, as long as I'm the person that's standing between them and the Connect, then I'm necessary. They need me. And so Mecca is like, look, that's smart. I don't blame you. He's like, I work with you. So whatever you trying to do, I'm trying to do, and we gonna leave it at that. And meanwhile, Tate goes to the jail to visit Tariq. They're having a little back and forth with each other. Basically, Tariq is like, look, you know, you still need that information to take down Councilman Sweeney so you could get his seat. Like, if you help me get out of here on bail, I can get that information for you. Tate is like, first of all, you was supposed to been got me that information. But, you know, because he really wants a seat, he's going to go ahead and do it anyway and figure out a way to get Tariq to be able to get out on bail. So the Tejadas end up having a meeting, and Lorenzo is basically telling them, look, Tariq is wrapped up in some murder mess. We not working with him no more. We don't need nothing going through the university no more. We're just gonna run our business how we used to run it. I'm gonna get each of y'all like a little street team of your own, and y'all are just gonna run the business, you know, from Queens, from the streets like we was before. And he's like, Monet, you're gonna help for now, but eventually you won't need to do this at all. You can just be my wife. And he's like, and Diana, you know, you're not gonna get a street team either, because, you know, I'm gonna let you go to school or whatever. And so he's basically letting them know what's gonna happen. Whole time during the meeting, Diana and Drew are just kind of looking like, okay, and Monet and Kane are kind of like side-eyeing each other like, yeah, okay, we're not gonna have course correct no more. Like, okay. And when the meeting is over, Monet is like talking to Lorenzo, and she's like, look, I held this stuff down while you were in jail. Like, we were making decisions together. Like, now you're just deciding and making commands. Like, no, what happened to us running this together? And he's like, that's because I was in jail. I'm not in jail no more. And he's like, now you don't have to do that. I'm in charge and you don't have to do that. And he like hands her a roll of money and is like, enjoy your retirement, go shopping. And I'm like, what the sexist mess? Like, she been running all this shit for you. That's a thing. Like, you was locked up in jail and she was doing all this, and now you're out and you just reduce her to, you know, go cook my meals and go shopping. Like, I'm like, what in the sexist mess is this? A hot sexist mess. So Tariq is back in court. This time he has a different judge who is a self-proclaimed BIPOC ally. It's giving very much Black Lives Matter / All Lives Matter. But either way, you know, he's like, look, we're not gonna, this is a young black man, and too many young black men are in the system and punished too harshly in the system. This young man he's a excellent student. He tutors people at his school. We're gonna let him out on a $2 million bail. So they let him out on bail. So he's basically gonna be out on bail, and he's gonna have to wear an ankle bracelet. He's not going to be able to leave. I think he's going to be able to leave the campus, but only to go to that other apartment that's listed in his file, the apartment that Lauren pretty much gave him. Like, those are the only two places he can go, to campus and to that apartment. After the court hearing is over, whatever, Cooper Saxe and Davis are talking to Councilman Tate, and Cooper Saxe is like, okay, why did you do it? What does Tariq have on you? And it's just like, Cooper Saxe, hush. Like, hush. It is no longer your job to take Tariq St. Patrick down. Like, I know you got all these leftover feelings from how you could never take down his dad, and like you have a whole vendetta against the whole family. Like, you gotta let that go. You are not a federal prosecutor anymore. So Cooper Saxe, Davis, and Tariq are in a little meeting room, and they're basically talking about how, look, he's going to be on house arrest. He's going to have to be on his best behavior because the police are just basically going to be itching to catch him doing something. Like, they're going to literally be ready to pounce at just even the inkling that he might be doing something wrong. And so he's going to have to be on like 100% best behavior. And Cooper Saxe is just being just ignorant. Like, he's just like, tell me, did you do it? Did you really do it? What do you have on Tate? Like, how did you do it? How did you get away with it? And it's just like, this is your client. You are not like supposed to treat him that way. Whether you think he did it or not, like, you are literally badgering him. And so once Tariq leaves, Davis like literally goes off on Cooper Saxe, and he's like, don't ever ask our client if they did or not and try to like force them into a confession. Like, you're messing it up for us because we're not gonna be able to defend them if we know they did it. We can't like put them on the stand and stuff, and like, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, you're tripping. Like, whether you think he did it or not, like, we work for him. It is our job to work for him. It is not our job to try to find him guilty. It is literally our job to make sure he is found innocent. Like, get it together. And I'm just like, Cooper Saxe is so annoying, because it's like, Cooper Saxe, like, if you've been watching the show from the beginning, you know how much trash stuff Cooper Saxe did that was not like within the law. Like, when he like low-key kidnapped Dre's daughter in order to force him into wearing an ankle monitor off the book so he could know where people were, even though he wasn't supposed to be doing any of that. Like, it's so much trash stuff that he has done like under the table. And now all of a sudden he's trying to act like he's like by the book, Mr. I follow all the rules. Like, you done some grimy stuff too, Cooper Saxe. You done been on some grimy stuff. He literally took a cell phone from Terry Silver's car and blackmailed Dre to plant it in James St. Patrick's hotel room to try and catch him slipping. Like, you have done grimy stuff, Cooper Saxe. Please get off your high horse. Just last episode, you was digging through your girlfriend's bag through files of hers that you was not supposed to be looking at. You are not a good guy here. So it's just very annoying to me watching Cooper Saxe like get on a high horse and just act like he's so above Davis. And it's like, Davis is doing his job. What are you doing? The other thing that we found out in that meeting, Tariq was asking about his mom, because remember, he had asked Davis and Saxe to try and figure out where his mom is being kept in witness protection. And so he ends up asking them that again during this meeting with them. And he's like, if y'all can find my mom, like, I just really need to talk to her. They tell him they don't know where Tasha is, but they actually do know where Tasha is. They're just not going to tell him because they're afraid that Tasha is gonna like tell him he should run or something, and they don't want to lose out on the money because Davis just want the money. So Reek is now free, kinda. He's got his little ankle monitor on so he can go to campus and he can go to that apartment that Lauren gave him. And so he goes to campus, he goes to his dorm room. Brayden is like, oh shoot, you're home or whatever. Tariq turns the shower on to make sure like the room is not bugged or whatever. And then he just asks Brayden straight up. He's like, look, what the hell is going on? How did that badge get in here? Did you work with Kane to plant that badge in here? And Brayden like comes clean. He tells him everything. He's like, look, I was hitting licks with him. I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't know that it was going to come back to you, but he did ask me to like move a body. I didn't know whose body it was. I didn't know that it was going to have anything to do with you or come back on you, but he did come up here and he did have, the ability to hide the badge in here while I was like throwing up, basically. And so he came clean. He told him everything. And so, of course, Tariq is going off on him. He's like, you were stupid and that's why I'm in jail, basically, you know. And he's just like going off on him, and he's like, I told you to stay away from Kane and you didn't listen, and now I'm in jail. And Brayden is just basically like, look, you don't tell me stuff. Like, if I would have known what was going on, I could have like protected you from that, but you don't tell me things. And Tariq is like, I told you what you needed to know. And I'm just like, Tariq, obviously you didn't tell him what he needed to know, because what he needed to know was that you and Kane had killed a cop and Kane was trying to frame you for it. Like, that's what he needed to know in order for this not to happen. So clearly you didn't tell him what he needed to know. You left out a huge part of the story that could have kept your ass out of jail. And it's just giving very much James St. Patrick and Tommy Egan. Like, I feel like that's how James used to do Tommy all the time. Like, Ghost was always like only telling Tommy parts of the story or halves of the story, and it used to come back to bite him every time. And it's like, just be honest with me. Like, if we're partners, be honest. And it's literally Tariq is doing the same thing with Brayden. And Tariq like ends up going off on Brayden, and he's like, why are you even in this life? Your parents are rich. Like, it's people out here in this life because they don't have a choice and because they need to survive. And you got rich parents and you're choosing to be in this life. And I'm like, I know Tariq didn't pull that card. Luckily, Brayden was like, first of all, Tariq, your dad is rich too. You didn't have to be in this life either. You chose to do this the same way I chose to do this. And I was like, thank you, Brayden. Because I'm like, Tariq, I know you didn't try to go that route. Like, you have rich parents just like Brayden has rich parents. You had opportunity just like Brayden had opportunity. You did not have to be in this life. You fought tooth and nail against everything your parents tried to protect you from to be in this life. And now you're here. Like, this is what comes with it, jailbird. Like, you wanted to be a drug dealer so bad. Drug dealers go to jail. Both of y'all are damn fools, to be honest. So Brayden is going with Kane to meet Monet, because remember, Monet and Kane want to keep course correct going, and Kane is like, Brayden can do it, and Monet is like, I need to meet him first. So before Monet gets there, Brayden is just asking Kane like, look, what's going on with the Ramirez thing? Like, did you do it, or did Tariq really do it? And he's just asking him questions, and Kane is like, look, don't ask me about this shit no more, basically. And so Monet shows up. She's kind of, you know, questioning Brayden. Brayden's like, look, I created course correct alongside Tariq. I know how to do everything just like he knows how to do everything. Like, and I also, like, I know how to handle myself in the streets too. Like, Kane can vouch for me. Like, we good. He's like, I'm gonna activate my white privilege because they ain't gonna be checking for me anyway, da-da-da. And I'm just like, yes, but also they are gonna be checking for you because your name has been brought up too many times in the police like conversations about this whole thing. So don't think that your white privilege is gonna get you that far, because you in that conversation too, little do you know. But either way, you know, he's basically trying to prove himself to Monet. Monet is like, nah, it's not giving. He's not ready. And so she shuts all that shit down. And so once Brayden leaves, Kane is just like, okay, so like, what are we gonna do? And Monet is like, you know, we just like let him go. Like, I don't want to use him. Like, you know, let him go. And so they're trying to figure out like what they're gonna do instead. So Tariq is walking through campus, and here comes Lauren. So Lauren pulls up, and she's like, oh my God, how are you? How are you doing? And Tariq is like, you would know if you came to court. Like, why wasn't you in court? Like, remember, Tariq was sitting in court and like nobody showed up for him. And she's like, oh, I couldn't, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And Tariq is like, what do you mean you didn't know? Like, you know me, you know I didn't do this, right? And she's just like, I don't know, Tariq, I just don't know. And I'm just like, the nerve of her to be like, to not even be on his side when you the one that wore the wire that got him roped up. Like, the nerve of you to not even, like, attempt to, like, be supportive of him when this is in large part, like, has a lot to do with what you did. And so I'm just like, wow, Lauren, like, for a second there, I thought Lauren was really gonna be like a real one, low key, but I was like, wow, like, you just gonna leave him out there because Tariq is like, well, let's go to your dorm and talk about it. And she's like looking at him like, like, everybody's like, everybody's watching, everybody thinks you did it. And he's like, wow, like, so you really, like, because everybody's watching, everybody thinks I did it, you not even, like, I can't even be around you, like, you don't even want to be around me, like, you gonna leave me out in the cold like that? And he's like, you the only person that I can trust, like, you the only person that I have. And she's just like, I just don't know, Tariq, I just don't know. And I'm just so irritated with her because, one, you wanted to be with Tariq so badly, you aggressively chased after him, you got him, you knew he had stuff going on, you still wanted to be there for him, you still wanted to be in his life, you still wanted that relationship with him. Then you wore the wire that ended up getting him roped up, and now you just like, yeah, I can't be involved. Like, I was like, wow. But this is exactly why, like, men who are like in that type of life, they have to get women who are down. Like, this is why James St. Patrick had to be with Tasha and not somebody like Angela, because at the end of the day, he knew Tasha was about that life. And honestly, Angie ended up low-key being about that life. I mean, you know, she did, like, send him to jail that one time, but she did a lot of stuff to save him too. But I already told you my theory. I think Tariq's gonna have to kill her, and she not making it. She making it kind of easy, cause he was like, "Well, it's cool. Like, we done. Like, I'm done with you." And I was like, "Oh, okay. This is why you gonna die, sis. This is why you gonna die." But during this conversation with her and Tariq brings up the fact that, like, cause she mentioned something about Professor Milgram said da-da-da, and Tariq is like, you know, forget Professor Milgram. She just wants me to go down for it because she's sleeping with Zeke, and Zeke was accused of it first, and, you know, she wants Zeke to make sure that Zeke doesn't get accused, so that's why she wants me to go down for it. And Lauren is like, she's sleeping with Zeke, like, Lauren didn't know. And so you could tell that Lauren is like, dang, so that's why Professor Milgram's like pushing me to, like, get information on Tariq, because whole time she messing with Zeke. So, like, when he said that, like, you could see it all over Lauren's face, like, damn, like, I really got played. Like, yeah, girl, Carrie Milgram played yo ass. She really did. So Tariq leaves and he's like, look, I'm done. He basically, like, dumps her right there. And I ain't mad about it. So Lauren pulls up on Milgram and she's like, first of all, that's the energy she had when she walked in. She didn't say that, but that's the energy she walked in with. And she was like, so whole time, like, you was sleeping with Zeke? Is that why you, like, made me think that it wasn't about Tariq so that I could get, you know, information on him? And Carrie Milgram tries to play. She's like, nobody put a gun to your head and forced you to wear a wire. And I'm like, wow, Professor Milgram, you ain't shit. I'm like, wow, you really pressured her and misled her to wear that wire. And now you sitting here telling her, well, nobody put a gun to your head. Like, really? Basically, Lauren is like, okay, bet. That situation with you and Zeke, like, everybody finna know. And Professor Milgram is like, it's nobody's business what, you know, the situation with me and Zeke. And Lauren is like, it's about to be everybody's business. And I'm like, yes, Lauren, expose. But also, when Lauren left, Professor Milgram looked like she was, like, plotting on her. Like, I could see the wheels turning. Like, Professor Milgram was definitely plotting on her. I don't know what Professor Milgram is going to do to stop Lauren from spreading that information, but it's gonna be something grimy. It's gonna be something grimy. I know it. So Tariq's in his dorm chilling, he can't go nowhere else. And Effie comes by to see him, and, it's giving very cute that Effie is like, showing up to support him during this time or whatever. She's just talking to him about everything. Tariq is telling her how, like, it was Brayden who basically, like, was working with Kane, and that's how Kane was able to plant the evidence or whatever. And Effie is like, okay, but did Brayden know what was going on? Like, did you tell Brayden what was going on? Because once again, like, Tariq kept information from Brayden that was crucial. If he would have given Brayden all the information, Brayden would have known better. And so Effie is like, look, like, did Brayden know that he wasn't supposed to do XYZ? Like, it don't even make sense that you and Brayden are beefing. Like, Brayden didn't intentionally betray you. He just did not know because you didn't tell him. And so, they're basically talking about that. Ultimately, like, Tariq is just like, look, I'm just glad that you're here. I needed some support today. Da-da-da. They kiss, they smash. It's whatever. The whole time this scene was happening, I'm just thinking in my head, damn, like, Effie was just telling Diana when they had their little bonding moment, when they was scamming together. She was just telling Diana, like, Tariq's not a good guy. I just don't want you to get hurt by him. And now you smashing him. Like, Effie girl, what's it giving, Effie? Like, I mean, we knew Effie was grimy because she, like, was grimy as hell in the original Power when she literally, like, set Tariq up to get caught selling drugs at the at Choate, at the prep school that he was going to. So we knew Effie could have, like, some griminess in her. But it seemed like she was being genuine with Diana when they were having their little bonding moment. But I'm like, damn, did you just tell her that so you could have Tariq to yourself? Like, really, girl? Yeah, I'm just like, that's going to be interesting when Diana finds out about this. So at the Tejada house, Lorenzo and the fam are just chilling. They're vibing. They're having dinner. They're reminiscing, laughing, joking. It's giving big happy family. We love to see it. And the whole time, Monet is just kind of sitting there, and she's just kind of seeing her family, like, engage with each other in a happy way. And, she gets up and she's like, I'm gonna go get us some cheesecake. Like, okay. And she ends up going to Dante's / Mecca's house, and she lets him know, like, look, it's done. We're over. Like, I need to be with my family. Like, I have kids with this man. Mecca is like, you have a child with me too. And he's like, I still need to meet him. And Monet is like, yeah, nah, that's not gonna happen. Like, I know I said it was gonna happen, but nah, I don't want it to interfere with his basketball. So yeah, you can't meet him. This is over. Don't hit me up no more. And then she dips. And I'm just like, damn, like, that's that, huh? Like, little do you know that this man is your whole connect. Like, and now you done just pissed him off. Like, you done just started some shit, Monet, and you don't even realize it. So Diana and Lorenzo are in the kitchen, and they're just chit-chatting, and Lorenzo is telling Diana, like, we decided to go ahead and pay for you to go to school at St. John's. And he's thinking Diana is going to be happy about this, but Diana is like, wait a minute, like, I don't want to go to St. John's. I wanted to go to Sandsfield with Zeke. And Lorenzo is like, me and your mom thought you were going to be happy about this. And Diana is like, no, like, Monet knew that I wanted to go to Sandsfield. Like, she's doing this on purpose because she's mad at me for getting you out. And Lorenzo is like, what? And Diana is basically like, Mom do not seem like she's happy about you being home. Lorenzo is like, nah, that's not true. She's just, she's been holding it down all this time. She's just gonna have to adjust to how it is now or whatever. And Diana is basically like, no, if that was the case, then why did she come up with a whole escape plan that didn't even involve you? And so Lorenzo is like, what? So he goes to Drew and he's like, what is this escape plan that Monet came up with that didn't involve me? And so Drew is telling him about how Monet was like, look, we're just going to go when Zeke gets in the draft, we're just going to go with him to whatever city he's at, and we're just all going to work for him and da-da-da. And he's telling Lorenzo this, and he's like, look, at that point, you were in jail, so, you know, the plan didn't involve you because nobody expected you to get out of jail. And so Lorenzo, he's not feeling this. He's like, look, I am the escape plan. Monet just don't understand. Like, ain't nobody trying to go work for Zeke, you know, like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, he's feeling a way about it. At the same time, Drew is texting Everett, and he has been like, he's supposed to go see Everett. So when Lorenzo comes in to ask him, you know, about the escape plan or whatever, he's like, you know, I gotta go. And Lorenzo peeps it. And of course, Lorenzo don't want him to even be involved with Everett. So he immediately like throws salt in the whole plan. And he's like, we're gonna go handle that dude that, like, you know, at the party who was like saying he didn't want to work with me, you know, the dude from jail. Like, we're gonna go handle him, and I need you to go tonight and go trail him. So whatever you was finna do, like, cancel that. And so Drew is like, you know, what is he gonna say? So he says, okay, he has to tell Everett that he can't come by, whatever. And he's gonna go, like, tell that guy so they can take care of him. So Brayden and Tariq are having another conversation. They're calm this time, and they're basically just putting everything out on the table. They're, you know, they recognize that they basically, like, they need each other. They need to work together. They're putting everything out on the table. They're letting bygones be bygones. Brayden is letting Tariq know, like, look, I went and I met with Lorenzo and Monet today. They want to continue course correct or whatever, but I don't know, Monet wasn't really feeling working with me or whatever. And so Tariq is like, that's good information to know, so we can still, you know, we can still do this, we can still move forward with this or whatever. And so they put everything out on the table, and Tariq is just basically letting Brayden know, like, look, you need to keep getting closer and closer to Kane, and just, you know, like, just gaining his trust. That's how we're gonna, like, be able to, like, stay ahead of him. He also asked Brayden, are you able to go to your folks' house and get that photo album that your dad was showing us, like, during the hunting thing, that had, like, pictures of him and Councilman Sweeney from college and stuff? And he's like, it could be something that could help me with my case. So Brayden is gonna go get that photo album and bring it to Tariq. And so basically Brayden, Effie, and Tariq have a little sit down, and they're basically, you know, that's their little organization or whatever. And Tariq is like, look, you know, Brayden, you're gonna basically, like, be working with Kane, keeping your eye on him, like, monitoring what he's doing and stuff. And he's like, Effie, you know, you're gonna pretty much be the go-between, you know, as far as Monet. And so that's how they're gonna do it. That's how they're gonna work it out. So Lorenzo shows up to meet up with Kane. He's supposed to be meeting the Connect, but when he gets there, he's like, you know, why did you tell me to make sure that Drew didn't come? And he's like, where's the Connect? And Kane is like, I am the Connect. And so he's basically letting Lorenzo know that, look, as far as you're concerned, I'm the Connect. Like, you go through me to get to the Connect. And so it's a real tense moment between the two of them. And Lorenzo is like, oh, so you trying to be my son, or you trying to be my boss? Like, this is gonna blow up in your face, and I'm not gonna be there to save you, and da-da-da-da. And so, you know, it was really just like, Kane was just like standing his ground. He's like, look, this is my Connect that I found. You're gonna have to go through me to get to them, period. Like, I'm not giving you the Connect so you can X me out and you and Drew can, like, ride off into the sunset with the whole business. Like, no, I'm not about to do that. Why would I do that? And so it's getting real spicy between Lorenzo and Kane. Meanwhile, Effie goes to meet Monet. When Monet pulls up, Effie hands her a burner phone, and it's Tariq on the other end of it. And him and Monet are basically talking. Monet is like, look, I didn't authorize for you to get set up like this. And she's like, but, you know how Kane is, but ultimately that's my son. If you snitch on him or whatever, then it's going to be war between us. And Tariq is like, look, I'm not going to snitch on him or whatever, but you just need to keep an eye on him and make sure he's not making no more moves against me or whatever, and Effie is gonna be the go-between for the course correct stuff. And so they work that out, figure that out. Effie and Monet have a little back and forth, and that's how they gonna do it from here on until this situation gets figured out. So Cooper Saxe is headed to his little boo thing's office, and as he gets close to her office door, he hears Lauren in there talking to her. And Lauren is basically like, look, I don't want to testify. It's not right. Like, Professor Milgram pressured me into doing this, and she like misled me into doing this. And his boo thing is basically like, look, well, I don't know what to tell you. You sign the papers. Like, my advice is that you need to, like, you know, read stuff more carefully before you sign it. That's like basically what she tells her. I'm like, dang. And so Lauren ends up storming out of the room, but like Cooper Saxe has heard the whole conversation. So at the end of the day, Cooper Saxe works for Tariq. He is Tariq's lawyer. So this is like really critical information that could help Tariq's case. Based off of how Cooper Saxe feels about Tariq, I'm just like, is he even gonna, like, I would not put it past Cooper Saxe to not tell Saxe what he heard, which would be so trash, but I would not put it past him. So we'll see how that goes down. So at the Tejada house, we got more big happy family vibes. Child, they in there playing Monopoly with real cash. Okay, no Monopoly money. I was like, that is a flex for real, for real. So they in there playing Monopoly with real money. Everybody's chilling, big happy family vibes. And Kane ends up getting a text message from Mecca. And Mecca is basically like, actually, you know, I want to meet your dad. And Kane is like rolling his eyes because, of course, he does not want Lorenzo to meet the Connect. But now that Monet has dropped Mecca like a bad habit, this is going to be, now he wants to meet Lorenzo for other reasons. Like, this is going to be like a pop up on Monet, surprise bitch, I'm your Connect type of vibes. So I'm wondering how Kane is going to handle this, because he rolled his eyes when he seen the text message. Like, it's clear that he understands that he has an edge being the only person that knows who the Connect is. So he does not want Lorenzo to meet the Connect. So I'm like, is Kane gonna try to make this meeting not happen? Like, I'm just wondering how this is going to go down. So we'll see. While Mecca is sending this text to Kane, he is posted up at a basketball court stalking Zeke. Like, he's just sitting in the car watching him play basketball on some weird-ass weirdo vibes. But, I mean, I get it. That's his son. And then also, while this is happening, Brayden is at his family's house stealing that photo album that Tariq asked him to steal. And so at the very last scene, Tariq and Effie are sitting in his dorm and they're just talking to each other. Tariq shows her that letter that his dad left that was like, I knew you was going to end up in jail. Like, evil ass letter. And like, Effie's like, dang, like, that's hella messed up. Like, yeah, that's super messed up. But at the end of the episode, in the last scene, Tariq ends up setting the letter on fire. And, you know, I guess that's supposed to represent him, like, you know, I guess just not accepting his dad's condemnation. You know, at the end of the day, like, he is his dad. Like, he is his dad. So at the end of the day, it's like, no, like, you don't get to decide what my fate is going to be. Like, I'm going to ride this shit out and fight it to the end the same way that you did, because I am a product of you. So yeah, it's getting good. It's getting really good. I cannot wait for the scene where it's Mecca, Lorenzo, and Monet in the same room. That shit's going to be funny as hell. So I can't wait for that. I also can't wait for it to come out that all the behind the scenes shit that Professor Milgram has been doing, because I'm like, where's Detective Whitman? Like, Detective Whitman, I'm on your side at this point. Let's take her down. Professor Milgram got to go. This is very different from where I started when this season started. I was like, why is he going after her? What has she done to him? No, let's take her down, because she is moving so grimy out here. I'm also really curious to see if, I don't know if Effie can be trusted. I don't know if Effie can be trusted. The fact that, you know, she has gotten Tariq caught up previously makes me nervous. Also, the fact that, like, she was so buddy with Diana a couple episodes ago and telling her, like, I just want you to stay away from Reek because he's not a good guy. And now, like, the first chance she get, she's laid up with him as soon as he get out of jail. I'm just like, so you still grimy, Effie. So basically you're still grimy. And now Effie has direct access to Monet. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if we could trust Effie. So I'm nervous about that. But we'll see. Let me know what y'all's thoughts on this episode were. Let me know what y'all's predictions are. Let me know y'all's thoughts. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out the full playlist and watch the other Power Book 2 recaps and reviews, and also make sure that you're subscribed to the tribe. Thanks, y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.